Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene takes place far from the centre of the city, in one of the larger, more affluent suburbs known as George's Cross, located hugging the banks of the River Liffey. It's one of those places that was built, you would assume, sometime in the Georgian era for those wealthy bankers and other individuals who simply, well, town had gotten boring, so they'd moved out here where there was fresh air. That was until the city devoured it, but that's the nature of cities, I suppose. So, Theodus, you have been invited to the home of one, allow me to get his name, of one Professor or Dr. Philip Hammond, a known Egyptologist and researcher into the mysteries of the Near and Far East. He has invited you to have tea with him this evening so that you might discuss his latest archaeological dig just outside Tikrit in northern Iraq. And he has said that he may have some work for you. So there's always the possibility of something interesting happening. So how does Theodus get to George's Cross? Do you drive? Do you walk? Buses?
He double check his sheet. He might have a dot and drive, but he probably wouldn't. Even then, he wouldn't be very good at it because of his health issues. So, and if I look up my really large sheet,
I mean,
no,
your flaw doesn't prevent you from driving at all.
No, it doesn't prevent me from driving. It does make it. I'd say it would make it at least marginally harder, though. At least it will probably just make it uncomfortable to do so. It wouldn't make it harder. It would just make it uncomfortable and kind of tedious.
You can always Uber.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he'd just take a taxi.
As you
to spare for it.
As you set foot outside of the taxi, you pay your driver, etc. You are standing outside what looks to be a rather sumptuously appointed, at least from the outside, Victorian house with 3 floors. There's a large hedgerow that separates this house, number 221B, from its neighbour, number 221C, which is right next door. A large green door is in front of you, and it seems altogether rather pleasant.
Oh, well, how lovely. Yeah, he kind of he just heads on out of the taxi cab, offers him like a minor tip because it's a polite thing to do. It's kind of, the culture. And he just gets out of the vehicle and kind of has a brief gaze upon the rather pleasant surroundings before walking on up to the big green door, and either knocking it or ringing the doorbell.
You will hear from the other side the pitter-patter of feet before the door is cracked open, and you'll see a woman with large mirror spectacles that appear to be like jam jar bottles looking out at you, her eyes hugely magnified. She says, "Yes, sir."
Good evening. I'm Theodus Crane. I believe I have a meeting with good Dr. Hammond this evening.
Ah, you're here to see Dr. Hammond. My apologies for me leaving you here on the doorstep. Absolutely frightful. Do please come in.
Oh, thank you. He'll just head on in.
She will close the door behind you. My name is Miss Hempsworth. It's so lovely to make your acquaintance, sir. If you'd care to follow me, the doctor is currently in his study.
Oh, of course. Thank you.
She will lead you through the twisting morass of the causeway. You see a number of doors branching off to the right and to the left until she comes to one that's set off right next to the large staircase that goes upstairs, and she turns right, knocking on the door politely. Doctor, your guest is here. Oh, I see. Please send him in. The voice comes from the opposite side of the door. She'll nod before she will twist the brass knob of the door, and you will gain entrance. Inside, you see a room that's oddly not dissimilar to the one that is in your own display picture, except it's tidier.
Yes, it's much tidier.
Much tidier. But there's a large log fire that's crackling away happily in the hearth. There are two large shuttered windows that are open. The shutters are open, though the glass itself is closed. Behind a large desk, there's the smell of smoke in the room as you see the fact the doctor is himself smoking a pipe. He's wearing an evening jacket, and you'll notice that there are a number of interesting pieces spread throughout the room. There's a dagger that appears to be there's a dagger in a gold inlaid scabbard that is sitting in a glass case. There's a number of very old books and manuscripts that are themselves once again encased in glass. And seated on the desk in front of him, you will see turned towards his chair some kind of stone tablet or stone carving on a plinth. And for the record, this is Dr. Hammond. I amend my statement. He's smoking a cigar or a cigarette, not a pipe.
No, he's not that old school. Almost. Yes, Mr. Crane will just kind of at his rather sluggish pace, as Mr. Crane always is, rather jovially greet Mr. Hammond by saying, Dr. Hammond, a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Yes, Crane, was it? Yes, very good to meet you. Please do sit down, rest yourself. I was led to understand when I contacted the university that you were the very man as it came to odd linguistic problems.
I guess you could say that, yes.
Now, may I offer you some semblance of refreshment? Tea, coffee, something stronger, perhaps?
I believe a spot of tea would be delightful, thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Hexworth, please see to that, won't you? Yes, thank you. So, he'll say, settling himself behind his desk, I was curious, why is it that such a linguophile such as yourself has found himself professionally active in Dublin? It's not really on the beaten track, as it were.
No, and the stay is not necessarily a permanent one. However, I thought it would be nice to see a bit more of the world, considering if I'm to achieve my future endeavors, I inevitably will need to become accustomed to travel and a world outside my own bubble. So I thought it would be wise for me to get a new change of scenery, I suppose you could say.
Yes, I quite
understand.
It's
a moderately prestigious university.
Indeed. Well, I shall have to keep you in mind. Maybe perhaps we shall go to the Sudan together sometime. That'd be excellent. Yes. Yeah. But no, I've brought you here for a rather specific purpose, and as I said, I'm happy to pay whatever fee you believe to be acceptable. But the reason I brought you here, Mr. Crane, is, well, frankly, this. He'll say as he takes great pains to turn the plinth around so you can see. And seated in front of you, you will see this.
Oh, okay.
You see, as I said, this was found rather interestingly. Well, when I say interestingly, I mean I literally tripped over the damn thing. But we were investigating a tomb that was located just outside Crete, and obviously you know the permits to go there, what with the Americans and all what have you. It's an absolute nightmare, but that's neither here nor there. I've been able to translate most of it, and it speaks about the reign of King Majda, who ruled around the year 2900 BC or so, thereabouts. But there's some sections here on the lower element that I've frankly just been unable to understand. They don't appear to be in Sumer, you see, or if they are, they're in a dialect that, by God, I've never seen. The above sections here, he'll say, denoting it with a hand, and here, well, they talk about the movement of celestial bodies, you understand. So, for example, they talk about Polaris and Ursa Major and other movements of the stars, which is quite interesting, as I, up until now, hadn't believed that the Sumer had been advanced enough in order to chart the astronomical movements of the stars. And if this indeed proves to be apt, it means as though the Greeks might not have been the first civilization to properly chart and catalogue the heavens, which is quite a find, as I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes, it upend most of our historical knowledge is to technological advancement of the human race.
But yes, as I've said, he'll denote the symbols, and as you look at them, they're obviously not Sumer.
Okay.
In the bottom, it's written in an entirely different script. It's also pictographic in the sense that it is a series of. It almost looks not quite hieroglyphic, but it looks like a series of waves and patterns. So it's quite odd as you look at it. It does not look like it belongs there, but it is carved into the same rock.
Okay. He will kind of take a bit of a closer look at it and analyze it. He begins. So he's able to translate, presumably the kind of parts that Mr. Hammond has already translated.
Yes, from your perspective, once again, as I said, it speaks about the movement of celestial bodies in congruence with other celestial norms, which is incredibly advanced astronomy from the perspective of a civilization that was the civilization that we're talking about here was active in the year practically 3000 BC.
Okay. And this untranslated section, is it in a language he is aware of or even understands?
I'll tell you something. Do you have eidetic memory?
Let me check. This counters a lot of stuff. Also, I think I'll need to make a roll because this is tying into a flaw. Yeah, obsession, historical study. So I need to.
Oh dear God! Yes.
So let me get that real quick, which is like somewhere in mental flaws, blah, 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 obsession. I need to make a willpower roll. Okay, seems normal enough.
Difficulty 5.
Oh, fun times. What dice roll are we in again?
We just use the 1.
Okay. I think it's. I get 3 successes. Okay, I resist the urge to study the hell out of this item. I will just instead.
You do not, however, have eidetic memory. So, no. Would you like to roll me an intelligence check? You will require a threshold of 2 successes at difficulty 7.
Okay. I only get 1.
You're nearly certain you've seen one of the symbols located in the center mass of the written portion before. It's almost like an inversion of. It's basically as if W had been folded in on itself and it points up with a circle above it. You're almost certain you've seen that symbol before, but you just can't remember where.
It looks like an inverted.
It looks like an inverted W with a circle above it.
Okay.
Important question, by the way. Do you have any magical sites currently active?
No, but he will begin rotating through them, as that is something I intended to do. So.
Okay.
Do you just want me to make checks for that? Or...
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Let me know which one you're activating.
I think. What ones can I even use? I think.
Any skills you have rank wooded, you can activate it. Sorry.
I'm just checking which ones I have. What ranks I have. We'll start with matter.
Okay.
What difficulty again? 4?
It's difficulty 3 plus 1 because of all the effects you have on yourself. So that's 4 plus an additional 1 because it's fast casting. So it'll be difficulty 5.
A botch.
Oh dear. In that case, you take.
That's really funny.
You have one more dice. You have Arete 3, dear.
I don't have Arete 3, no. I'm pretty sure I have
it. I'm pretty sure you have Arete.
I have Avatar 3.
Have I misread that tragically? I believe I might have done.
Yeah. I used freebies to get my Arete from 1 to 2, but never to 3.
Never to 3!
Nah, I started at 2, like a noob.
Baby mage!
So yeah.
Okay.
I only have 2.
You will take an immediate, I believe it's 1 point paradox, so please note that. You may, however, try again. This is the first time your character's felt paradox. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. Oof. That hurts. Paradox. Why do I note paradox down here? I have quintessence. I didn't note my paradox, so I'll just do that now. Paradox 1. Go. And yeah, I will try again. Dice twinge. There we go. I got a success this time. So yeah, I'll begin perceiving the patterns within the matter.
Okay. You're only going to turn it on for a split second because it'll then fall away. Trust me, you don't want to activate them all permanent or for the scene because then that'll just increase the difficulty like the Leo.
Yeah. I don't want to see everything. I'll be blind.
The rock appears to indeed just be made of sandstone. There's nothing special about what it's made of.
Okay. I'll then rotate to... Prime.
Okay.
I should tell you. I'll watch again.
Really?
Yeah, I got a 1, a 3, a 3 and a 10, and then a 1 and a 2.
That's another point of paradox.
Oh god, I'm gonna die here.
You need like 10 points you need like 10 successes on paradox rolls for it to become lethal damage. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so I get a second point of paradox. Whoops. I really wish that I'll try that again. It's not my life.
I have faith in you.
Oh, that's the same.
Did you watch it again?
That's the same. Yeah, it's exactly the same dice. 1, 2. Okay, I'm just gonna start stacking this shit. Oh. At this point, god damn it, I am staring at this. I'm just making dot rolls until I get my 5 now. There we go. It took me 1, 2, 3, 4 rolls to get there, but we finally did it. Jesus Christ. I'm now on 3 paradox. But hey, I can use Prime Sight on this fucking stone slab. It better be worth it.
Holy crap, the stone is basically infused with so much quintessence.
Oh, sick.
You can also determine the magical effect that's on it if you'd like.
Yeah.
It's a gateway.
Oh, okay.
Or rather, it's the key to a door.
Okay. That is interesting. I'll then the southern side, then the unreadable side might provide some clues as to what the intent of this item is. If I can't remember the language, I certainly don't know it.
You do not know it. However, once again, you're sure you've seen at least one of the pictograms before.
Okay. Could I do have natural linguist.
Mm-hmm.
Would I wouldn't necessarily be able to translate this proper, but might I be able to get the grasp?
I tell you what, I'll give you another intelligence roll as you're really trying to remember where you've seen the pictogram before.
I get 3. That would have been great if it was diff 7, not diff 6. Plus a 9 and 3 6s.
Once again, you're sure you've seen it somewhere. And recently.
Recently. He does actually have. It's not a symbol he recognizes from his studies in the Order of Hermes, so it's likely something he's seen from actual from his more mundane research.
If you think so.
Pardon?
If you say so.
I've been studying the Order of Hermes. He'll just say to Hammond. He just snaps his fingers as he kind of leans in real close to the plinth. I've definitely seen this symbol before. I can't quite recall what it means, but if I look over some of my prior research material, I should be able to begin deciphering it for you.
Wonderful. By the way, if you attempt to turn the tablet over, you're able to do it. And inside the back of it, you'll see the fact that it's hollowed out. So there's a perfect circle, and you'll be able to tell it's a geometrically perfect circle in the back of it that's completely empty. Like as if it's cut into the back of it.
Okay. A perfect geometric circle.
Mm-hmm. A perfect cut into the back of it.
Interesting. Have you had any hypotheses over what this circle is here for?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, he just kind of says that to Hammond.
I didn't quite hear the question.
Oh, he says, what have you had any hypotheses over what this circle appears to be here for? Appears to be a perfect geometric circle.
None whatsoever, unfortunately. I assumed that might have been explained in the section that I can't read, but it's a dickens of a thing to have there. It seems, well, it was definitely put there for a reason, and I've got no idea why. It's not indicative of any other pieces I've seen from a similar age or indeed a similar construction. It's entirely unique.
Yes, I haven't come across an artifact of this era that would have such a carving on it. But then again, it is. But it does discuss the movement of celestial bodies, which is unusual enough. So perhaps it is tied to this.
Possible, possible. As I've said, I've been entirely unable to come up with a given hypothesis. It stops rather mid-sentence, actually. It says here, the intersection of Polaris and then it changes into the language that I can't read.
Here, the intersection of Polaris. And path. Got it.
I'll give you one last roll as you desperately comb your memory, because this is kind of sad.
I have the astute specialty, but I don't think that works for memorization. So
you can also spend a willpower.
I will also spend a willpower. Hey! It took us a lot of rolls and 3 paradox, but we're here.
That symbol, you are currently under the tutelage of Magister D'Onofrio for your sins. She has that tattooed on the back of her hand. It's the Enochian symbol to ignite or to bring light.
Shit, which... And I have to uphold ignorance to mortals. Great. He then kind of... He kind of takes a moment. It's a center symbol, so yeah, it wouldn't make sense with the actual sentence cut off. It doesn't interest him why the languages would change midway, unless it's deliberately meant to obfuscate information, or this is part of something else. And the readable part of the plinth is Millie. Is not the spell itself, it is the ritual setup, which would make sense. He gives us some thought. I have to say, this is an absolutely remarkable find. It could completely change our understanding of Sumerian civilization. My current hypothesis, based on what I've seen, what I've read, and it could be that the change in language could be ritualistic in nature. Again, once I once I collect my research materials, I should be able to verify this.
Yeah, as I said, any insight that you could possibly give would be invaluable. I'm rather stumped on the topic, you see.
Hmm. Well, if it dates back to 2900, it was when it became a dynasty proper and experienced an explosion of cultural and technological advancement. It could also be entirely theological, which might be why this is not seen. Or it could even be, it's more likely that this is from a theological fringe sect. It would explain why
Well,
we
that's a
haven't.
very interesting hypothesis, I have to say.
That would explain why you found nothing else indicating Sumerian's knowledge of celestial movements. It could be that it was simply not a part of the main theological culture, and this could be an offshoot.
Absolutely. As I said, hither to this point, if anyone had told me the fact that Sumer in the year 2800 BC were charting the astronomical movements of the stars, I would have laughed at them. But then again, here sits proof in the pudding.
I am intrigued by the linguistics switch, and that is not something I have seen presented in any other cultures, not spontaneously at least. It might not be a language at all. It could actually be some sort of primitive cipher. That might actually make more sense, as one is unlikely to switch languages on a dime. It might just be coded language.
Possibly. As I said, it's most unfortunate that if it is indeed a code or a unique series designed for only specific individuals to read, then we may unfortunately never know the mystery.
This is true, but I have encountered a similar symbol, so I have a lead to work with. And with some due time and effort, I'm 110% certain I'll be able to unravel the mystery for you.
Well, if you think that you can.
Well, it does not behoove me to show a lack of confidence in my area of expertise. So. I don't deny it will take some time. And you are certain this is roughly around the dynastic period, 2900 BC.
I believe it specifically dates, as I said, sorry, it specifically dates to the reign of King Majda, who reigned around that period, yes.
1 second, let me look this guy up. If I could spell him. Do you have it in Google Chat?
Are you ready?
I was just trying to look up the name of a figure. I think I found him. Yes. Seems well into the dynastic period then. Part of my another potential hypothesis I had was this might have been a pre-dynastic offshoot, but it would appear this would not be the case.
On the side, I should point out for posterity because I'm going to sneeze. It's like, excuse me. Obviously, I've named the stars the modern names that they have: Re Polaris, Serpenus Major, etc. How it describes them is their rough positioning in the cosmos in terms of mathematics.
Oh, so it's not theological at all. It's actually quite scientific. Well, it's mathematical. Yes. Huh.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, Theodus just begins going through certain different hypotheses he has until he kind of stops himself as he realizes there's not really any point speculating until he has the proper translation. So he will say, yeah, I do apologize. I do appear to be getting quite carried away, as he says, shrugging off his historical obsessions.
Oh no, it's quite fine. It's agreeable to meet a chap who has as keen a mind and as interest in this as I do.
Yes, well, it has always been apparent that the well, being one of the first civilizations to ever touch the Earth, the Sumerians were quite talented mathematicians, but astronomers. I'm very impressed with the find. Perhaps, did you find any similar items at the site, or was this the only one?
No, there were several interesting pieces. However, they're currently in transport. They should be here about this time next week. If you're interested in coming to view them, I'm more than happy to give you a show of the display when it is they arrive.
I'd be absolutely fascinated. It might grant me some greater insight into this potential cipher.
Yes, absolutely. Shall we make an arrangement in that case to have maybe a late lunch next week, and then I'd be more than happy to show you the finds when they come in.
Oh yes, and I shall bring my own materials, and perhaps we can put our heads together and knuckle down on the issue.
I absolutely look forward to that. Thank you, Mr. Crane, I say, extending a hand.
Oh, on the contrary, the pleasure is all mine. You have brought me a most fascinating marvel of history, and I appreciate the privilege immensely.
Do you shake his hand?
I do.
Okay.
And then Forces 5 and Crane is Ash. Oh, oops.
You can do that with Forces 3.
I mean, okay.
with Forces 5, you can erase you at the cellular level.
I mean, I'd prefer none of these things to happen to me. Please don't kill me. Dr. Hammond.
He's not even a wizard, Harry. He's just a man with a fabulous, fabulous cigarette holder.
Hmm.
But
Yes,
yes,
and I'll look into this I'll look into this circle and see if I can find anything similar from other finds that I've been researching. Would you mind if I just take a few pictures for the sake of
oh no, by all
posterity and
means, feel
further
free.
study?
Please do.
Yeah, he'll begin taking pictures. He'll make sure that they're very clear. And very like, you know, that he could clearly see the symbols and the pictograms on the tablet. Like he's probably done this a few times before, so he is quite picky about how he takes the pictures. But it doesn't require anything other than his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
He will allow you to take whatever photos you like.
yep, he'll take a photo of pretty much the entire tablet. So the circle is also noted. He takes it from multiple angles. He takes about a dozen in total.
Very good. Well, as I said, absolute pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. I'll be. I look forward to a future lunch.
Indeed. I shall have Mr. Hesthwaite see you out. Until we meet again, Mr. Craig.
Of course, until we meet again. And he'll pick himself up and begin using his walking stick to kind of help him walk around on his lame leg. And yeah, we'll journey out of Miss Hemsworth, who I'm half tempted to use Prime Sight on her, but I don't want to botch the roll again.
Are you getting a bit paranoid?
I only got 2 dice, so it only takes 1/1. But I'll do it, just in case.
Okay.
Just in case. I'm gonna regret this. Oh no, I get 2 successes!
Yeah, she is entirely normal. She has an ordinary person's prime signature.
Okay.
However, you look down and you notice your phone now has a prime signature that it didn't have before.
That's interesting. My phone will now be used to summon creatures across the cosmos. Excellent. No. Yeah, he'll take note of that. Before quickly turning off a prime sight. He only keeps that up for a few seconds. It's just something that's kind of lingering at the back of his mind for some reason.
As you step outside into the evening, you'll breathe in the cool evening air before you set down the path. Before you reach the end of the path, though, your phone will buzz. A text message.
Oh, he'll open the text.
There isn't an actual number that's texted you, and it's almost like it sent you a paint file. Do you open the attachment?
I open the attachment.
Beg your pardon?
I open the attachment.
Okie dokie.
I should probably be doing this when D'Onofrio is around, but...
I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
I think we'll wait on it.
Okay.
Unless it just goes away, like, instantaneously or something.
You open the attachment, and it takes your phone a few moments to wuzz to life properly. And then all you see sitting in front of you is this.
Huh. Is that on my phone, or does it literally pop out of my phone?
It's on your phone, as if it was sent like an attachment.
Oh, okay. Interesting. He will try and save that to the photo section of his phone.
Okay, it will save.
Okay. Can he reply?
You can try.
Yeah, he'll just he'll just text in response, "Who dis?"
Really?
No. He is. He might, but no, he won't. Not to this weird ass nonsense. He will type, "Who is this?"
A few minutes later, or a few moments later, rather, your phone will buzz again with another attachment. Do you open it?
Yeah, sure.
You will see this.
Okay. I'm gonna try and trigger if it's being sent a message. There's a now Prime signature on my phone, which is being used to message it. Or if I want to see if it's being messaged to me electronically, I'll need to check for forces. So I really don't want to botch these rolls.
Willpower is your friend?
Willpower is my friend. I'll spend the willpower for at least the first one.
Remember,
And
here you get a willpower back every day.
yeah. But I've already spent 2 willpower, so
Because unlike you, we don't hate life. Yeah,
okay. The second one I didn't spend willpower for, it was only the first one. Not that I needed it for either, but yeah, it's helpful.
Okay. Do you text back?
Yeah, I will text back, and I'll check the forces and prime patterns on the phone as I do so. As I'll say, as I'll ask, what are these symbols you are sending me?
The electrical impulse. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, he'll just say, what are these symbols that you are sending me?
The electrical impulse will immediately fly, and you'll see it fly directly over your shoulder through the door and into the house. A couple of seconds later, you'll see one that is enriched with prime energy fly back into your phone before it will buzz again, and it will say that you have another message. Do you wish to open it?
Yeah, sure.
You see this.
Okay. And when I sent the message, did I send a forces signature into the house or a prime one?
A forces one. It came back with a forces signature laced with prime.
Ah. Interesting. Okay. He will just text rather, before he does that, he texts his taxi to pick him up, and then we'll text. He just texts. You wouldn't happen to have any more of these symbols, would you?
Okay, at this point, something weird happens. The signal flies away and it comes back. This symbol appears on your phone if you open the attachment. Then your phone starts to weep blood.
Oh, okay. Ew. Ew.
As in the blood is spurting from the symbol on your phone, covering your hands.
Oh, ew. Ew. Saving that and putting it away and minimizing it so it can't bleed. Go away.
The blood continues to spill from your phone.
I'll give it 2 minutes. How long does it last?
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't. Okay. Okay. I close it. Make it go.
It's gouting as if you'd cut an artery.
Okay. I don't want to ditch the phone.
You can turn it off.
I'll turn off the bloody phone.
Okay. As you turn it off, the blood ceases to spurt. You're now drenched in blood, by the way.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm not drenched. Just my arm, my hand, and probably my ankle, because it probably spilled. It spilled. Oh, I gotta get blood on my shoes. Oh.
Those nice. You know,
I need a rote which works like prestidigitation, where I can just clean myself for no reason.
Yes. In theory, you could do it with forces and matter. You could select the matter, and the forces would expel it from you.
Feeling if I botch this roll, burn off my clothes, but yeah.
No, I'm not suggesting you do it. I'm saying in theory you could do it.
In theory, I could. However,
your taxi
will take off his jacket so that it's not as apparent, and fold it.
Your taxi will arrive a few minutes later.
Yeah, and he'll put his hand in his pocket, the one which is quite bloody. He's kind of just been rubbing it against fencing for like the past 10 minutes. slowly getting a fair portion of the blood off.
Okay.
It presumably dries in a really nasty way. Ew.
Your hand has gotten that weird sticky feeling you get if you get blood on your hands.
Yep. It's gross. It's like if, you spill Coke on your hands and it's just like, ew. My hand is now sticky. And yeah, he will head on home. But he won't turn his phone on yet, because he would like to send a message to D'Onofrio, but there's a good chance it just causes his phone to bleed out again, and he'd rather just do that when he's in a safe space, maybe where the blood can pour out safely, in a bathroom or something.
Or the Hermetic Chantry, where they're not, afraid to have blood on the floor. It happens semi-often.
Or where people bleed a lot because we are bad people.
Anyway, cool. With that in mind, thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness and Double.